Medicare premiums are going up by as much as 11.6%. And for many retirees, that single change could swallow most of their Social Security increase in 2026. While headlines tout a big boost, with COLA projections hovering around 2.7%, the net gain for the average recipient may be as little as $30 per month once deductions kick in. It's a frustrating pattern. Rising healthcare, grocery, and housing costs are consistently outpacing the official adjustments. What sounds like progress on paper quickly fades when real-world expenses come due.
Backhand index pointing right. If this information helped you, don't stop here. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're always one step ahead. We break down important updates like this clearly so you're never caught off guard. Join our community, stay informed, and take control of your financial future, starting today. Flexed Biceps Calendar.
Especially for those relying solely on their monthly check to stay afloat. The problem isn't just the numbers, it's the system itself. COLA is calculated using a formula based on workers' spending patterns, not retirees. That means expenses like prescriptions, long-term care, and rising rent often don't factor in the way they should. Even with slight policy shifts on the horizon and discussions about switching to a more accurate index, nothing has changed yet. For now, retirees are stuck watching their benefits grow on one side of the ledger while Medicare and inflation quietly erase those gains on the other. The increase is real, but so is the erosion. Let's get one thing clear right out of the gate. The so-called big Social Security increase for 2026 isn't what it seems. Headlines are calling it a boost, a win, a significant improvement. But once you dig into the numbers, the truth is far more underwhelming. And for many retirees, even disappointing. Yes, a COLA adjustment is coming. The Social Security Administration is expected to announce an increase somewhere between 2.6% and 2.8%. On paper, that might sound like a decent raise. Slightly above the long-term average. Sign of progress. A benefit boost that might help seniors keep pace with the cost of living. But here's the truth. Most retirees won't feel that increase. Not where it matters most, in their wallets. The main reason. Medicare Part B premiums. Those are expected to rise by more than 11%. That jump alone could eat up a big chunk of the COLA. Let's say your Social Security check goes up by $54 a month. That sounds good, right? Now take off $21 to cover the Medicare premium hike. You're left with just over $30 in net gains. And that's before you account for rising grocery prices, housing costs, transportation, and everything else draining household budgets month after month. It's a frustrating cycle. Social Security announces an increase, but expenses rise faster. The math just doesn't work in retirees' favor. And let's not forget how the increase is calculated in the first place. The system uses the CPIW, Consumer Price Index, for urban wage earners and clerical workers. It's a mouthful and it's outdated. This index doesn't reflect the reality of senior spending. It's based on the habits of working households, not retirees. It undervalues critical expenses like healthcare, housing for fixed-income seniors, and basic services that have skyrocketed in price. So while the formula might say inflation is stable, ask any retiree and they'll tell you a different story. Prescription drug costs are rising. Copays are up. Groceries, trages, rent, unbearable in many places. And yet, the system says 2.7% is enough. The disconnect is glaring. And it's not new. Year after year, Social Security COLAs are presented as inflation protection. In reality, they've become a slow game of financial catch-up that seniors are forced to lose. This so-called big increase only looks big because inflation spiked so drastically in previous years. Now that inflation is slowing down, the COLA looks good in contrast, but the costs from last year haven't gone away. They've settled in. They've become the new normal. And it's not just Medicare premiums. It's the compounding effect of rising expenses across every major category retirees depend on. Long-term care is getting more expensive. Utility bills are creeping higher. Even transportation, especially for those who rely on ride services, has become less affordable. A $30 to $35 net increase after deductions doesn't cover that reality. Not even close. Let's put it in practical terms. The average Social Security recipient receives roughly $2,800 per month. A 2.7% increase would push that to around $2,855. That's an increase of about $55 per month, before deductions. Once Medicare and other out-of-pocket costs are factored in, retirees are looking at real gains of maybe $300 to $600 per year. Spread over 12 months, it doesn't do much. And for retirees living in higher-cost areas, think California, New York, Massachusetts, this increase is nearly meaningless. Inflation isn't uniform. In those regions, housing costs alone can wipe out any benefit bump. Renters in these areas face yearly increases that dwarf the Social Security adjustment. Seniors on fixed incomes are being forced to downsize, relocate, or rely more on food assistance and family just to stay afloat. This is the reality behind the headline. Now, while 2020's excess increase does technically outperform some previous years, especially during low inflation periods, it still falls short of meeting real-world needs. That's because healthcare inflation is a different beast altogether. And healthcare isn't optional. It's not discretionary. It's not something you can just cut out of your budget when prices rise. It's the core of senior spending. Medicare Part B premiums going up over 11% is a serious hit. It's not a footnote. It's the main story. That kind of increase reduces the COLA's impact to the point where many seniors won't experience any real improvement in financial security at all. In some cases, their out-of-pocket expenses will rise faster than their income. That's not just stagnation, it's regression. And let's not ignore the long-term problem looming behind all of this. The solvency of the Social Security Trust Fund. It's still projected to run dry by the mid-2030s. That doesn't mean Social Security disappears. It means the system will only be able to pay about 75 to 80% of benefits unless Congress takes action. That's a massive cut in real terms. To address this, policymakers are tossing around the usual ideas: raising the payroll tax cap, increasing the retirement age, changing benefit formulas. But these are slow-moving, politically divisive proposals. And while they're debated endlessly in Washington, retirees are left waiting, watching, worrying. There's also talk of changing how COLA is calculated altogether. Some propose switching from CPIW to CPIE, the Consumer Price Index for the elderly. That would be a big improvement, as it's more aligned with actual senior expenses. But let's be honest. That change isn't happening in 2026. It's not even scheduled. It's just another discussion point that might become reality someday, if Congress gets serious. In the meantime, what does this all mean for retirees? It means that even with a big COLA increase, careful planning is still essential. Relying solely on Social Security is becoming riskier. Experts recommend diversifying income sources, whether that's savings, a small pension, rental income, or even part-time work if possible. Every dollar helps when the cost of living refuses to stay still. It also means retirees need to keep a close eye on official announcements. The official COLA figure will be released by the Social Security Administration in October 2025. Until then, projections are just that, projections. When the number drops, evaluate what it actually means for your budget. Look at your Medicare premiums, grocery receipts, rent statements. That's the real math. And no matter what you do, stay connected to official SSA channels. Scams are on the rise, especially when benefit announcements are in the news. Always verify information directly with the Social Security Administration. Don't respond to unsolicited calls, emails, or letters claiming to offer updates or special access to benefit increases. The 2026 COLA increase might be real on paper, but the day-to-day reality for seniors won't change much. If anything, it will highlight just how far behind the system is in truly meeting the needs of the people it's supposed to support. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that like button so more people can get the truth behind the headlines. Share it with someone you know who relies on Social Security. Drop a comment with your experience. Have your expenses outpaced your benefits? What's your plan going into 2026? And don't forget to subscribe for more updates like this. When the official COLA is released, we'll be right here with a full analysis. No spin, just the facts. Check with the Social Security Administration directly for personalized questions or concerns. Only they can confirm your benefit amount, explain deductions, or walk you through changes in your account. Stay informed, stay sharp, and most of all stay prepared. Because behind every increase, there's always another cost. The so-called big Social Security increase for 2026 is being spun like a victory. Like the system is finally delivering a win for retirees after years of rising inflation, economic instability, and political gridlock. But once you look at the facts, the celebration doesn't hold up. The numbers don't lie, but they don't always tell the whole story either. Sure, the projected 2.6% to 2.8% cost of living adjustment is slightly above average. But let's be honest, it's not even close to what's needed. Not when you factor in the 11.6% jump in Medicare Part B premiums. Not when housing costs, utility bills, and grocery prices keep rising month after month. Not when seniors are being forced to stretch every single dollar just to maintain the same quality of life they had last year. And that's the part that gets exposed. This isn't a raise. This is a recovery attempt. And a weak one at that. Let's break it down even further. The average retiree receiving about $2,800 in monthly Social Security benefits can expect an increase of somewhere between $50 and $55 per month before deductions. Now take out the Medicare premium hike, roughly $21 to $25 more per month, and you're left with maybe $30. Best case. Now compare that to what's really going up. Healthcare costs, especially for seniors, are rising faster than the general inflation rate. Copays, prescription drugs, hearing aids, dental care, vision, all critical needs for older Americans. None of it is getting cheaper. All of it is rising faster than that 2.7% COLA. And the government's own formula for calculating the COLA, it doesn't even reflect senior spending habits. The CPIW is based on working adults, not retirees. It undervalues the categories that matter most to older Americans. That's why every year, the COLA feels disconnected from reality. 'Cause it is. The Consumer Price Index for the Elderly, CPIE, would fix that. It's designed to measure inflation based on senior expenses. But it's not being used. It's being talked about, debated, studied. But it's not law, not policy, not happening. So for now, seniors are stuck with a system that tells them they're getting a raise while their rent, prescriptions, and grocery bills laugh in their face. And this disconnect creates a dangerous illusion. Politicians point to the COLA and claim victory. Headlines scream biggest increase in years, while retirees sit down with their checkbook and realize that nothing has changed. That the gain is neutralized before it even hits their account. That the increase is just enough to cover the hike in medical bills and maybe a couple of extra grocery runs. This isn't just frustrating, it's infuriating. Because while the federal government debates the future of the system, the people relying on it don't have time to wait. They can't afford to sit around and hope for structural reform while their costs rise every month. The inflation spike of 2022 and 2023, that's still being felt. Those price increases didn't go away. They stuck. And now we're layering a modest COLA on top of already elevated costs, calling it progress. Let's talk about real purchasing power. That's what matters. Not the percentage. Not the projection. The real question is, how much more or less can retirees actually buy next year with their benefits? And the answer, for most it's the same or worse. Because Medicare premiums alone eat away the headline gains. And that's before other expenses are even factored in. With groceries, insurance, rent, these costs compound. And COLA doesn't. Now throw in geographic inequality. Retirees in high cost of living areas, California, New York, Florida's urban centers, are watching their utility bills and rent rise far beyond any COLA can keep up with. Meanwhile, Those in more affordable regions still see key costs rising faster than the national average used in the COLA formula. So while Social Security tries to protect against inflation, it's constantly one step behind. It's not proactive. It's reactive. And it's not enough. Even with all this, the system is still under threat. The trust fund is on pace to be depleted by the mid-2030s unless Congress intervenes. That means unless something changes, we're looking at automatic benefit cuts of up to 25% within the next decade. 25%. That's not a talking point. That's the official estimate. The trust fund keeps benefits at current levels. Without it, the system can only pay what it takes in through payroll taxes. That means the checks still come, but they're smaller. Much smaller. Lawmakers know this. They've known it for years. And yet, no meaningful reform has been passed. Raising the payroll tax cap. Still on the table but untouched. Adjusting the retirement age. Still being floated but without any action. Switching to CPIE. Still under review. Meanwhile, retirees are paying the price. Working seniors, those who supplement their benefits with part-time jobs, are also being hit with an increased earnings limit in 2026. That sounds like flexibility, but for many, it's another layer of confusion. How much can I earn before my benefits are reduced? Will it be worth it? Will I be penalized? It's just more stress layered onto an already unstable foundation. And here's the worst part. Many retirees don't even realize how little this COLA will do for them until they see the deductions on their checks. By the time they compare this year's deposit to next year's, the damage is done. And for those living on razor-thin margins, that realization can be devastating. This is why the big increase language is so dangerous. It oversells a benefit that, once Medicare and inflation are factored in, barely makes a dent. It gives the illusion of progress while retirees continue to fall behind. And that illusion has consequences. So what can you do? Start by facing the numbers head-on. Look at your projected benefit. Compare it to your actual expenses. Take Medicare premiums into account. Don't assume that increase will translate to more cash in your pocket, because for many it won't. Next, make a plan. If you can, build other income sources. Whether it's savings, a side job, downsizing, or tapping into retirement funds, don't wait for Social Security to fix itself. Be proactive. Adjust your budget now based on net benefit changes, not the pre-deduction increases. Also, stay informed. The official COLA announcement comes in October 2025. When it does, don't rely on headlines alone. Read the fine print. Understand the Medicare adjustments. Factor in your unique situation. And always verify information through official Social Security Administration channels. Scammers are already targeting seniors by pretending to offer COLA access or benefit optimization. Don't fall for it. If someone contacts you claiming to offer early access to your COLA increase, hang up or delete the message. Go directly to the SSA website or call the official numbers. This system isn't collapsing, but it is straining. And that strain shows up not in Washington, but in the daily lives of people who rely on it. The 2026 increase. It's real, but it's not transformative. It won't rescue anyone. It won't reverse the erosion of buying power. It's a bandage on a much deeper wound. Most importantly, stay sharp. Stay informed. Stay connected to the right sources. Contact the Social Security Administration directly with any questions about your benefits. Don't guess. Don't assume. Get it straight from the source. What's happening isn't just about policy. It's not just numbers on a spreadsheet. This is about real people trying to survive on a system that keeps falling behind. Retirees aren't asking for luxury. They're asking for dignity, stability, predictability. And instead, they're getting sold a headline that says, "Big increase," while their wallets quietly say otherwise. What we're seeing with this 2026 COLA increase is exactly what's wrong with the system. It offers just enough to make it look like progress, while completely ignoring the deeper crisis. One where the cost of staying healthy, staying housed, and staying fed outpaces the so-called adjustment year after year. And the frustration is real. Because every time there's a bump in benefits, there's also a bump in premiums, a jump in food prices, a surge in utility bills. So what does the increase really give you? A brief pause before the next hit. It's hard to call that relief. Let's also remember this. Social Security isn't a gift. It's not charity. It's something people earned. Deductions taken from every paycheck for decades. A promise made. Work hard, pay in, and you'll be supported when you retire. But that promise feels weaker every year. COLAs that don't cover the real inflation. Medicare premiums that rise without warning. Delayed reform that leaves retirees holding their breath. That's not a promise kept. That's a promise strained to the breaking point. And the scariest part, so many people are still unaware of what's really going on. They see the word increase and assume things are getting better. But the truth, this increase won't protect them from skyrocketing prescription costs. It won't make housing more affordable. It won't cover the difference in healthcare inflation. For most, it won't even keep pace. That's why it's so important to spread the word. Don't just read the headline, read the reality. Look at your benefits, your deductions, your actual monthly change. Look at your expenses. That's the real story. And if you find yourself disappointed or angry, you're not alone. Millions of retirees are in the same position, quietly absorbing the costs, silently trying to stretch every dollar, hoping next year will be better. If this breakdown gave you the clarity the headlines left out, hit that like button. Share this with your family, friends, neighbors, anyone relying on Social Security in 2026. Drop a comment below with your experience. Is this increase really helping? Or is it another illusion? And be sure to subscribe. When the official numbers drop in October, we'll break them down. We'll continue to expose what's behind every benefit change, every deduction, every delay. Most importantly, if you're unsure about your benefits, your Medicare deductions, or your actual increase, contact the Social Security Administration directly. Only they can give you answers specific to your situation. Stay informed, stay prepared, and don't let the spin replace the truth.